UFC 306 just recently wrapped up, and I am going to recap the entire card. We'll start with the first fight of the night and then work our way up to the main event. Make sure you guys smash that like button, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe it up. We're going to jump right into things. First fight on the card was Raul Rosas Jr. versus Aoriqileng. Rosas Jr. went out and won a clear-cut decision, but it wasn't really an outstanding performance. In round number 1, he was able to take Aoriqileng's back and threaten with the rear naked choke. Ultimately, wasn't able to get it. He won it on the scorecard. Second round, actually Rosas was failing on a lot of takedown attempts, and I think Aoriqileng outstruck him in round number 2, and I scored the second round for Aoriqileng. Now in round number 3, some decent stand-up attempts by Rosas, but really nothing significant. He ends up getting the takedown, getting the fight to the floor, and he cruises to a unanimous decision. The thing about Raul Rosas is he's super young. Being 19, I mean, he's about to be 20. So being essentially 20 years old, he's got a lot of time to grow and develop his skill sets. And there's really no reason to rush up the ranks with somebody like him. And I don't think, kind of underwhelming performance like this is something where we should take it as, all right, I'm off, he's got no future. The dude is 20. Like, most guys are not in the UFC at 20. Now, I will say, the delusion is strong with Raul Rosas Jr. because after the fight, he called for a top 15 opponent. Raul? No. No. Beating Aoriqileng does not earn you anybody near the top 15, nor should anybody that handles Raul Rosas Jr.'s career, like any type of manager, push him to fight against somebody ranked. He will not thrive. He's super young and he needs to develop. Now, he also called for 50 G's where I was just like, what? I was like, Raul, 50 G's, bro? 50 G's? There's a time and place to call for 50 G's. That was not the time and place. Rosas Jr. Pulled off a control-heavy win in a bit of a lackluster fight. Still happy he got it done. I mean, he was a huge favorite. He was expected to win it, but I was hoping for more. I was hoping Rosas would have strangled Aoriqileng because I feel like, I don't know. Aoriqileng, I guess, is not a guy that's easy to finish, but I thought maybe Rosas could capitalize on Aoriqileng's subpar grappling and actually get it done. I mean, he did a bit of damage with ground and pound, but not much. Really not much. I'm overhyping it. Did he do much damage? No. He won the fight. He's still, a prospect to keep an eye on. And he got the Mexicans excited with, I guess, a Mexican-American fighter in Rosas Jr. getting a W to start the night. Congrats to Rosas, but chill, bruh. You ain't fighting nobody ranked yet. Give it some time. Next fight was Joshua Van and Edgar Cháirez. This fight was actually really good. It was a good banger, back and forth type of fight. I mean, you thought early on that maybe this would be the fight of the night. Shit, spoiler, it was not because there were some super bangers later. First round, Edgar Cháirez is actually kind of whooping Joshua Van's ass. He's hitting him with nice kicks. He's finding good jabs. His boxing is on point. Cháirez looked clean AF in round number 1 and clearly outstruck Joshua Van in that first round. Now, things started to come together and heat up for Joshua Van as he consistently pressed Edgar Cháirez. He was able to start finding some big punch combinations in round number 2, landing some clean shots on the feet, making Cháirez uncomfortable, rocking Edgar Cháirez and unloading, and then it turned into a bit of a back and forth war. But Cháirez ended up actually stunning Joshua Van with the spinning back fist after Van had hit him with some big shots. Now, Van did secure the decision win, ended up on top in round number 3, and the takedown came in handy. I don't think Cháirez had much gas left in the third round. He was kind of zapped from the body work. The shots that hurt Cháirez, I need to specify a bit because I feel like I'm just giving you a random breakdown. He touched up Cháirez to the body. This is something that I was talking about throughout the week, is I thought that Joshua Van, with the body shots that he likes to throw, could hurt an Edgar Cháirez, and it ended up coming to fruition. It's really a great skill set that he has, is not being a headhunter. He ripped to the body really nicely in round number 2, had Cháirez hurt, hit him with all types of punches, but Cháirez is made out of steel. But still, very dominant second round. Third round, questionable fight IQ moment when he shot for a leg lock, and I was like, no. I was like, please. I was like, Joshua Van, don't sell right now. Don't shoot for a leg lock and then get put into a weird submission, because Edgar Cháirez does have like a relatively tricky ground game. He's got really long limbs, and he's a guy that can catch you with some weird shit. So thankfully, the Joshua Van leg lock attempt didn't end up causing him to get his back taken and choking out, because Cháirez tried to get his back after, but was ineffective in doing so. Definitely a good performance for Van. Not, breakout star performance, but entertaining fight. He's still young at 23. I do like his tool set. I think Joshua Van's pretty good. I think he's got good potential. I feel like we have to slowly build him. You know what I'm saying? He's only 23. Dude started training at what, like 19, 20? So he's a baby as far as his MMA experience goes, and he's already 11-2, and he's doing pretty well. I mean, beating a gritty vet like Cháirez, I think, is rather impressive. Edgar Cháirez is a fun guy to watch, and it was a difficult physical matchup too for Van, because he was giving up like 7 inches in reach, and he was able to overcome that and actually hurt Cháirez nicely. So I was impressed by Van. I thought it was a relatively good performance for him. And he's definitely somebody at 125 I got my eye on. Granted, Charles Johnson knocking him out last time, and he was even touched a little bit in this fight with Cháirez early, but was never like seriously hurt. But he's definitely a little bit wobbled in the first round. I still think there's a lot of growing that needs to happen, but the skill set is good, and I expect him to have a solid UFC run. Next fight on the card, massive upset. Holy hell. Yasmin Jauregui got knocked out. Actually, she got choked out. She got badly dropped and then choked out by Ketlen Souza. Dude, Jauregui's just got a fragile chin, I think. We saw her dropped by Estela Nunes, knocked out by Denise Gomes, and dropped and choked to sleep by Ketlen Souza. She was looking pretty quick on the feet early. Her hands were looking fast. Her movement was on point. She was getting in and out of range pretty well. And then the big overhand shot by Souza finds the dome. Down goes Jauregui. Souza jumps the back immediately, chokes Jauregui out. Jauregui went to sleep. She didn't have an opportunity to tap. She was brutally rocked from the punch by Souza, and then Souza locking up the neck. Like, you don't even know if Jauregui had a clue what was happening, man. Jauregui got choked the fuck out. This was a big performance for Ketlen Souza as a massive underdog in this fight at plus 380. Definitely was major territory. I mean, she was even bigger than that as a dog, I'm sure, at some spots. It was a big W for her. She hits hard. She's got good punching power. She's fairly well-rounded. She got a cool style, man. These little short, dykey Brazilian chicks can fight, and Jauregui just didn't have the durability. Sad for Jauregui, taking now 2 L's in the UFC, 1-2 in her last 3. I worry about her durability. She's still young at 25, so, obviously could turn things around, but I have to worry that anybody with a bit of stinging power can get to her. She's been dropped by 3 UFC opponents already, and I feel like that's rather worrisome as she continues her UFC career, and she's only 25 and she's taking some clean damage. But Ketlen Souza's game, gritty girl. I don't know how good Ketlen Souza really is, though. I know she caught Jauregui and choked her out, but I still have my questions around Ketlen Souza's skill set. She's got punching power for sure. She's a physical presence. She's got good pressure. She doesn't give up on herself. But I don't know. I guess I'm not really convinced that she's that good. I'm more so convinced that maybe Jauregui is not nearly as good as we initially thought, and she's a little bit fragile with the chin. A little bit of that glass slipper jaw problem, kind of like James Thompson back in the day. OG reference. Next fight. Oh, this one hurt. Manuel Torres versus Ignacio Bahamondes. Holy shit. Manuel Torres got fucking decimated by Ignacio Bahamondes. Torres, he hit Bahamondes with a couple power shots early, but wasn't able to find the, success that he normally is, right? He's dropping everybody quick, or he's choking them out fast. What happened was Manuel Torres started getting frustrated, and Torres was blitzing forward with wild shots on Bahamondes, but he's overthrowing his punches. So he would throw a shot, right? He's coming with a big punch. He's sitting in, he's ripping it, and it's coming all the way across. And there he is. Boom. Caught with the straight. Goes down. Rocked badly. Is able to recover after getting rocked the first time. But what does he do? The blitz again comes crazy. The shot comes over again. I got to talk into the damn mic. Shot comes clean on the chin. Down he goes. And this time he was done. He just turtles up. Torres like, I'm out. Bahamondes, you got my number. I'm good, Ignacio. Big ground and pound. Ignacio looked good, man. Ignacio Bahamondes was crisp from the outside. He was precise with his striking, and he finds the kill shot so nicely on Manuel Torres, who unfortunately doesn't really have high fight IQ. I guess Manuel Torres is kind of like that explosive freak athlete where he's going to blitz you, he's going to bring chaos, but if it's not going his way and he doesn't find the knockout early, he tries to force it. Manuel Torres doesn't have an educated jab. He doesn't know how to fight at a calculated pace. He knows one speed, and that's chaotic aggression. And chaotic aggression and bullying styles can only work so well. Eventually, you're going to need to calm down. You're going to need to pick your shots, and you're going to need to set things up. It's essentially like Manuel Torres is so used to just brutalizing these cans that he ran into a Bahamondes who's not a can. Bahamondes is not a can. Ran into a Bahamondes who's calm, cool, collected, calculated, and clean, and he got knocked the fuck out. Damn sick knockout. Bahamondes gets my respect. Big W for him. He was really clean with his hands, really precise, really patient, and found the kill shot. Really found it twice, and then a nice finish. Respect to Ignacio Bahamondes. Dude's got skills for sure, and I gotta actually put him on notice. Write it down. Ignacio Bahamondes. Keep an eye on him. I have to pay attention now. I was a little bit of a Bahamondes doubter after the Ludovic Klein fight. I'm like, the dude's weak. Klein bodied him, but I think Klein's actually really good. And I thought Manuel Torres was better than he showed. I don't know. I thought Manuel Torres had more tools. Something I was saying throughout the week, and fuck, I was proven wrong. But you know what? In a sense, I don't love being proven wrong, but I'm willing to take it on the chin, and then you learn. Manuel Torres, I really assumed he had different gears. I assumed that he wasn't kind of just a wild pressure fighter. Like, I assume that, yes, that is part of his game, but if things aren't going well, that he would have more weapons. He didn't really show any other weapons besides power punches. Like, that's it. He only knows how to try to knock your head off. Like, I'm not trying to compare it, but like, at one point, Trevor Peek, that's all he was doing. Peek's gotten a little bit better and totally different matchup. I don't know, though. Maybe Manuel Torres, Trevor Peek is on the fucking horizon. That's a dope fight, low-key. I know Torres was on a nice little win streak, but what are they going to do? Give him Terrence McChinney? Not a good idea. Maybe him and Trevor Peek fight. That's a really cool fight. I don't know. I'll do a matches to make next video, but we'll talk about that later. Torres just kind of got exposed of lacking a fine-tuned skill set, which I thought he might have had. I didn't think he was just freak power, but he absolutely is, and it's not like he's that young. He's 29. He's got 17 pro fights now. So the fact that he doesn't have a jab and he doesn't know how to be patient, I'd say huge red flags. And I will anticipate this is not the last time we see him knocked out in a UFC fight. Now, for Ignacio Bahamondes, badass win. The dude's got skills. He times his shots well. And you can't just try to bully him and blitz him. Not going to work. Respect to Bahamondes, a.k.a. Dahmer clone, the Hispanic Dahmer. He was a little Dahmer-like at the damn press conference. Let's jump to the featured prelim. Norma Dumont and Irene Aldana. Wow. This one was really intriguing for me because I believed before this fight. I'm sounding like a moron. You guys are, this guy's an idiot. Well, listen, I'm telling you honestly, at least I'm a real motherfucker. I believed before this fight that Irene Aldana's boxing would be significantly better than Dumont's boxing / Muay Thai. Not the case, actually. Norma Dumont's hands looked really clean. She was landing a lot of jabs. Her accuracy and volume was off the chain in this fight. she didn't even need to grapple with Irene Aldana. She picked her apart in striking, chopped at the leg, struck well from distance. I mean, Aldana being the longer girl and the taller girl, you would have anticipated that Irene Aldana would be the one having success from the outside, but Dumont stung her up with straights and made her pay. Now, Aldana landed a decent amount of power punches in the fight, and she definitely made it a scrap, but she lost a significant portion. I mean, pretty sure 30-27s all around. And I think Norma Dumont looked pretty clean here. I think this was a statement for Norma Dumont. Like, to go out and handle Irene Aldana with relative ease, where Aldana is most dominant. That's really where the point I want to get across here is the fact that Dumont beat Aldana in the dogfight, in the striking, is what I found so impressive. If she would have just wrestle-fucked her, took her down, used her jiu-jitsu, dominated her from top position, like, okay, I guess that's what Dumont can do. But the fact that she showed hands in this fight, good hands, I was impressed. Dumont's well-rounded. She picks her shots nicely. Now, holy shit, the head clash that took place that sliced the eye of Aldana created one of the most gruesome cuts I've ever seen. It looks like a chainsaw was used to slice Irene Aldana's face. I am telling you right now, because it was a head clash and the fact that it was Noche UFC is why a doctor did not step in and stop that fight. Because if there was any fight to be stopped by a damn cut, it was that one. Holy hell. The cut, if you saw at the end, it cut from here all the way down into the nose, and she had a cut over her eye too. Aldana's face got marked up badly. Now, obviously, it was a headbutt that caused it, but the punches from Dumont continued to damage that area, and it was a massive difference maker. Aldana's face was covered in blood. Now, granted, Aldana landed some decent shots on Dumont. I think she caught her with a nice elbow, cut her a bit, or at least bruised her up a bit too. But she was clearly outmatched. Respect to Aldana for being an absolute dog and just refusing to quit, refusing to take steps backwards. She kept trying to bring pressure. She kept coming on Norma Dumont. But Dumont was just too precise. Dumont was too well-rounded, too primed. And I think Norma Dumont is right in the mix for a world title fight. I know that Kayla Harrison is probably next in line if she does go out and beat Ketlen Vieira, and then she'd be taking on the Pennington and Juliana Pena winner. But Norma Dumont is really not far behind that. I think she's in a great position to make a potential title run in 2025. 5 wins in a row, too. Dumont looked really good after this one, and she's got my respect. Next fight, it brings us to our main card opener. This fight was absolutely bananas. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash the likes too. And if you're new, subscribe. Ronaldo Lazy Boy Rodríguez and Ode Osbourne. Well, first things first. Lazy Boy ain't lazy. Debunk that myth. The dude's got dog in him beyond belief. Ode Osbourne dropped Ronaldo Rodríguez so bad in the first, opening sequence really of the first round, very early in the fight, and threw ground and pound shots that seemed to somehow wake Ronaldo Rodríguez up, which led him into a scramble, which led Ode Osbourne to get a fully locked-in triangle. I don't know how Ronaldo Rodríguez didn't go to sleep. I don't understand. The triangle was fully locked in, and Osbourne has rather long legs, and normally those guys with real long legs can lock in some gnarly triangle chokes. So the fact that Ronaldo Rodríguez not only survived death punches from Ode Osbourne, but also survived a locked-in triangle was crazy. It was insane to me. I'm like, how did Ronaldo Rodríguez pull this off? Round number 2 commences. There's pressure by Ronaldo Rodríguez. Even Ode Osbourne ends up locking him in a guillotine. Ronaldo Rodríguez finds a way to fight out. Rodríguez then beats the shit out of Ode Osbourne in round 2. Absolutely whooped his ass. He was beating him up from top position, nearly got a ground and pound stoppage from the mount, and then ended up controlling Ode Osbourne's back for a significant portion of the second round, nearly locking in the rear naked choke a couple of times. Ronaldo Rodríguez's grappling control in that second round was on point, and now we have a total flip-flop fight. We have a 10-8 first round essentially for Ode Osbourne and like a 10-8 second round for Ronaldo Rodríguez. Round 3 commences, and you can see Ode Osbourne is a tad bit more worn than Ronaldo Rodríguez. And Rodríguez buckled him a couple times with wide overhand shots. Now, it wasn't a buckling where he was doing the chicken dance, but it was like the stinging shots that forced Ode Osbourne to retreat. And then Osbourne was like refusing to engage. And we knew that he was hurt. I was like, okay, Ode Osbourne is starting to feel the effects of this fight. Rodríguez is in his face. And then Ronaldo Rodríguez also, I believe he got this fight to the ground late. He finished with a bit of ground and pound and control. Ronaldo Rodríguez deserved the win at the end of it. And he got it. 29-27. I thought was a little wild because I don't know, maybe 28-27 would have made more sense. Give them both 10-8s because it's odd that they scored a 10-8 second round for Rodríguez, but Osbourne nearly knocking out and nearly submitting Ronaldo Rodríguez wouldn't earn him a 10-8 first round. So I don't know. If you're giving out 10-8s, you see what I'm saying? Like then you might as well give it out for both. I don't know. Weird. But the third round was definitely Rodríguez round. Second round, definitely Rodríguez round. And then first round for Ode Osbourne. I thought that Ronaldo Rodríguez deserved it at the end. I personally scored it 29-28, 2 rounds to 1. You could have scored that first round 10-8 though, and maybe there could have been an argument for a draw. But it's hard to get 10-8s these days, and it's just sometimes murky waters with scoring these 10-8 rounds because then we would have had a draw in this fight. But instead, Ronaldo Rodríguez gets a W for the Mexican fighters. They needed one. The Mexican fighters were on a horrible slump leading into this fight, and they needed some success. And Ronaldo Rodríguez was the guy to bring the success to the Mexican people. And fucking beating Ode Osbourne, even as close as it was and competitive, like I still was super hype about Ronaldo Rodríguez's future because he's got a badass personality too. He says crazy shit on the mic. He's just so thankful to be fighting in the UFC, living his damn dream. And I couldn't be happier for the damn guy. He's got great skills, man. He's got great skills. I don't think he's elite. Hold on. You're going to say, oh, like great skills, he got dropped. No. Ronaldo Rodríguez has got the skill that most guys don't have. And that's he refuses to say, no, I'm out. He refuses to quit. A lot of guys talk about, I'm willing to die in the cage. If there's anybody that I've seen on this card that was willing to, his name is Lazy Boy Ronaldo Rodríguez. The dude is made out of steel. He does have nice overhand punches. His boxing's okay. He's got pretty solid grappling control too. I think he's got relatively decent potential. And we also have to take into consideration Ronaldo Rodríguez is still very young. He's only 25, man. He's got plenty of time to grow and develop into a more high caliber contender. But out of all of the winners from this card, like Ronaldo Rodríguez, he made a name for himself bigger than he already had. He blown up on Instagram. He's blowing up bigger because he had to dig deeper than anybody to bounce back after that horrible first round. So mad respect and props to Ronaldo Rodríguez. For Ode Osbourne, I'll do this for you, Ode. We're not releasing you from the UFC. You shouldn't release Ode Osbourne. Yeah, he's lost 3 in a row, but this fight against Ronaldo Rodríguez was really good. And Ode Osbourne deserves some respect too. Nearly got him out of there early. He just ran into a Mexican who doesn't know how to quit. Next fight on the card, it was Esteban Ribovics versus Daniel Zellhuber. This was a dope fight. This fight was incredible. This was a back and forth war. Round number 1, Daniel Zellhuber, I believe he found more shots from long distance. Actually, something I want to say first. My God, the commentary was so biased for Daniel Zellhuber. You would fucking believe that he's having a masterclass striking affair, that he's landing knockout level shots the whole time. Oh my gosh, they glazed him. He looked okay. Distance striking was okay. Kicks to the body okay. Zellhuber landed some nice punches even in combination. But Ribovics was right there tit for tat with him. I personally scored round 1 in this fight for Ribovics. I thought he definitely got the first round. Clear win in round number 1. But it was close, and if you would have gave it to the other side of Zellhuber, I wouldn't have sat there and argued with you about it. Round number 2, I thought was more convincingly Ribovics. He was landing pretty nice hooks in close range, and I thought he landed the bigger punches. And I feel like in a, back and forth type of fight like this, the bigger head strikes should probably be, the ultimate difference maker. And I thought that Ribovics had done enough to win the second round. So going into round 3, I had this fight scored 2-0 for Esteban Ribovics. In round number 3, it's a good back and forth fight, and what happens? Zellhuber drops Ribovics with a perfect elbow to the chin, but Esteban Ribovics is made out of something different. Ribovics then gets back up, and then it turns into a brawl. He rocks Daniel Zellhuber. Like I'm talking about, he had Daniel Zellhuber on spaghetti legs. Zellhuber's running from him, and Ribovics is chasing him down, looking for the kill, unloading a barrage of chaos. Everything that he had in the tank, he tried to put out there and finish Daniel Zellhuber. He couldn't finish him, though, because Daniel Zellhuber is extremely tough. He's got a solid chin on him, but he was rocked a couple times in that third round, and Ribovics was going for it, winging big hooks, staying in his face, ripping shots to the body, ripping shots to the head, and Zellhuber's just trying to slip, slide, and move and survive. There were moments, though, after Zellhuber was hurt that he landed a couple shots, and then him and Ribovics are essentially just swinging for the damn fences. It was an incredible fight. It was a 10 out of 10 fight. It was a war. It was a high skill set war between two savage up-and-comers. And I was on the Argentine. I picked Esteban Ribovics, definitely in a strong minority. Only 19% of Tapology picked Esteban Ribovics. So I guess I'm one of the few, and I was very happy as to how good that he looked. I thought it would be a competitive war, and I thought that he would have to outdog a Zellhuber, and he absolutely did just that. Respect to Esteban Ribovics with a massive win for his career. This was huge. Next fight on the card, it was our featured bout. It was Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopes, and this fight started off crazy right away. Diego Lopes badly rocked Brian Ortega in the first 20 seconds of the fight. It looked like he was going to get a 30-second KO. He was all over Brian Ortega with big punches on the ground. He was throwing ferocious ground and pound shots, just beating Brian Ortega's ass. Brian Ortega trying to throw up triangles from the bottom, trying to attack, but no answer. Diego Lopes beat him up for a while on the ground, but then he felt like, all right, this is a futile effort. I don't want to gas myself out. Let's get it back to the striking. And then they're back to the boxing realm, and Ortega got caught with a few more shots in round number 1 and clearly got dominated in that first round. Potentially 10-8 first round. Round number 2, more competitive. The commentary was making me uncomfortable, though, because they're like hyping up Brian Ortega doing so well in the second round, but he still clearly lost the second round. He got hit with harder punches. He like kind of weaved with a head kick that landed. There were significant shots for Diego Lopes that landed nicely in the second. And there was like this worry from the commentary team that Diego Lopes was gassing, but I thought that wasn't the case whatsoever. I didn't think Diego Lopes was close to gassing. I thought that Diego Lopes decided, hey, instead of trying to go crazy for the finish in this second round, let me be patient, let me find big shots, but let me take my time. And Ortega, I mean, he landed a couple of jabs, couple low kicks, but ultimately not much. Diego Lopes had ripped him up with nice leg kicks too throughout the fight. And then we get to the third round, and Diego Lopes put it on Brian Ortega some more. Ortega had no answer. Diego Lopes brought hell to him. I believe he got him to the ground in that third round a bit. I don't know. It was a long card, man. I'm not remembering it to a T, but I know my scorecard was 30-27, Diego Lopes. Lopes and Ortega both banged late, throwing big shots, but Lopes was simply just landing the cleaner strikes. He was the physically stronger guy in there, and he was able to outwork, out-hustle, and out-muscle Brian Ortega on top of outstriking him and landing some big shots. Diego Lopes is special, and something, too, that I think a lot of people gave him a bit of a harsh criticism after being competitive but still clearly beating Dan Ige. People forget that Diego Lopes also took the fight, initially it was supposed to be against Brian Ortega, on that UFC 303 card on very short notice because they had to try and finagle a super card when they lost the McGregor-Chandler fight and they lost the damn Jamal Hill-Khalil Roundtree fight. So Diego Lopes and Ortega, which was initially supposed to take place then, was a late notice addition co-main event. And then obviously it turned out to be Diego Lopes fighting against Dan Ige instead of Brian Ortega. But that wasn't even 100% Lopes. We saw 100% Lopes here. The dude seems to have an endless gas tank, freakish knockout power, and high caliber grappling skills. Diego Lopes has the makings of a top contender. Do they rush him into a title fight? I don't know. Beating Brian Ortega means a lot, though, because Ortega's only losses come against guys who have held belts inside of the UFC leading into this fight. Losses: Max Holloway, Alexander Volkanovski, and Yair Rodriguez. In the year fight, he avenged that L. So it was a massive win for Diego Lopes to go out and beat Brian Ortega, especially in the fashion that he handled Brian with relative ease en route to a clean and easy unanimous decision. I loved what I saw from Diego Lopes. He made me very happy. Wouldn't be shocked if he finds himself in a title fight because the dude has a superstar fan base now. I heard in the UFC post-fight show with Dom Cruz, they mentioned the name of Movsar Aljamain Sterling winner. I'm sorry, regardless of the loss to Movsar, I think Diego Lopes is ahead of that line. Even somebody had mentioned Arnold Allen. Diego Lopes is ahead of that. Diego Lopes beating up Brian Ortega puts himself to fight for a world title or in a massive fight. I don't know. The Movsar rematch maybe, but I'm not that crazy about seeing it yet. I'm kind of like, if timing could work out, it'd be kind of cool to witness the new blood, a Topuria who defends the belt, take on a Diego Lopes. Another crazy fight would be Diego Lopes versus Alexander Volkanovski. But again, I don't really think the UFC is going to book that. I don't know the direction they're going to go with Lopes because he was so far back in the rankings heading into this fight. There is a real possibility that he will be forced to fight somebody like an Arnold Allen or potentially a Movsar Aljamain Sterling winner. And then that fight could potentially earn him the next shot in line, or he'd be faced off in a true number one contender fight. But in a sense, this fight had top contendership written all over it. If Ortega goes out and beats Lopes, is he not right up there in the mix too? I know Volkanovski is the talk of the damn town, like about getting a title fight, but are we forgetting Volk has lost 3 in a row? 2 knockout losses in a row? I know he's a legend of the game and we can put him in a title fight, but like I feel like in some senses, I'd rather see different guys fight for the belt. And Diego Lopes is that different guy. I want to see Diego Lopes get a shot, man. Lopes is slowly becoming my favorite featherweight on the roster. Maybe not slowly, maybe lightning speed. Badass win, 10 out of 10 performance. Don't doubt this kid. Co-main event of the evening. It was Alexa Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko 3. Listen, kudos to Valentina Shevchenko. She did what many would have assumed she would have done in their first booking. She won every round. Now, it was not the most fun fight of all time. I got to get a sip of this Coke Zero. It's 4:20 in the morning and I'm drinking Coke Zero. God bless. It was not the most fun fight. It was not the most entertaining fight. And when I'm saying not the most, I'm really holding back a little bit because I like Valentina. It was boring. Valentina Shevchenko was able to outstrike Grasso. Grasso had no answer with the boxing. In some way, Grasso's boxing seemingly has regressed a bit. Shevchenko's kickboxing and boxing specifically looked super on point because she landed some pretty decent counters on Alexa Grasso. And then the wrestling was the key to win. Valentina Shevchenko was landing takedowns in every single round, controlling and dominating Alexa Grasso. Grasso had no answer. I mean, she threw up a few submission attempts. She, tried to lock in a triangle, tried to lock in a guillotine. There was moments. Grasso definitely pulled for the Hail Marys, but wasn't enough. Valentina Shevchenko was just way too strong and bodied her from top position. Even in round 5, like Valentina for 1 second almost gave up her back. quickly scrambled out of it and then ended up on top of Alexa Grasso. And she finished the fight in dominant position. It was a dominant win. This was one-sided. It wasn't any bit competitive. Grasso really didn't have any moments in this fight. Like, yeah, a couple submission attempts. But even that guillotine she threw up, it was like kind of close for a second. But as soon as Valentina flipped Grasso on top of her and then reversed it back over and like had her on her side in like a weird position where there's not much force being put into the choke, Shevchenko was good to go. Good as gold. And Valentina Shevchenko gets the belt back at 36. That's something that goes against the statistics, man. 35 and up, normally you ain't winning the belts against the younger champs, especially a younger defending champ who had beaten you once before. But Shevchenko showed a different level. She proved everybody wrong. Valentina Shevchenko did tremendous work. Like I said, it wasn't the most entertaining fight, but the division moves on, and the queen is back. Valentina Shevchenko at the top again after, you know, the first loss to Alexa Grasso, which was a massive upset, and then the second fight, which was a draw with Grasso, and Shevchenko felt she had been robbed. This time, there was no doubt. It was super one-sided, and you might be asking, wait, they're 1-1-1 against each other. Why don't we run the quadrilogy? Nah. Valentina Shevchenko was too damn dominant. The other fights were all competitive in a sense. This was completely one-sided. Completely one-way traffic. We need to move on with the freaking division or we're killing flyweight. So what we're going to do, man on Fioro, Valentina Shevchenko. Is that not actually one of the coolest women's fight ever? Like, think about that. Manon Fiorot is a masterful striker with quality grappling. Valentina Shevchenko, masterful striker, quality grappling. It's the battle of the new blood of somewhat a similar skill set versus the old guard. I can't wait. I think that's one of the most cool matchups the UFC can make right now. I actually think that Valentina Shevchenko and Manon Fiorot is dope. 10 out of 10 fight. And that's honestly a pay-per-view on its own. I know they won't do it. They're going to put it probably as a co-main event or maybe as a fight night main event. I think it's low likelihood Shevchenko and Fiorot is a main event for a pay-per-view card by itself. But I will say I wouldn't be disappointed if it was. That is probably, for me, the most exciting women's MMA fight in a long time. Like, the only fight I can think of that gives me that excitement like that in women's MMA, I mean, there was a handful, but I would probably say Nunes Cyborg gave me that type of feeling where I'm like, oh shit, these are two bad bitches throwing down. Outside of that, I mean, Rose and Andrade 2 had a cool feel to it. Outside of that one, I mean, Wei Li and Rose, the, two fights between those two. You know what? Joanna and Jacek versus Wei Li was pretty badass the first time. But I don't know if it had the same pre-fight build as Valentina and Manon Fiorot does. I don't know. I just think that that's one of the coolest fights in the UFC right now. Both European strikers with great skills, and I'm excited to see who can take it home. Yes, please book that ASAP. I need to see it. I think it could be a fight night or maybe a pay-per-view on its own, or they do it in Europe. There's definitely some cool ways they can make it happen, like a fight night. Main event, Shevchenko Fiorot. This is a fight night. Listen to this. I don't know where in Europe, but somewhere in Europe. Co-main event, Prohashka versus Blachowicz. Like, holy shit, this could get crazy. I think there is some very cool cards they could build around a Fiorot and Shevchenko. Fight night main event. I don't think it needs to be a pay-per-view, but if it was, I'd still buy it. I would. I don't know about you. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments, actually, because I'm curious if I'm just on an island here. Valentina Shevchenko, Manon Fiorot, is that not one of the coolest women's fights in years? And is that not a pay-per-view main event on its own? I want to hear what the people are thinking, because I think it is. For Alexa Grasso, sent back in the rankings a bit. I don't know. A loser of Erin Blanchfield, Rose Namajunas makes perfect sense to me. That's probably where she's headed towards. Maybe a Jessica Andrade fight even. That could be kind of cool. Two former champs that have never faced off before. I'd be down to watch that as well. But yeah, Shevchenko and new again. But really, the belt is back with its rightful owner. Respect to Valentina. Let's keep running. Main event of the evening. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash the likes. And if you're new, subscribe. Sean O'Malley versus Merab. How did it go down? Well, Merab's the champ now. Obviously, everybody knows. Sean O'Malley got completely outdogged by Merab Dvalishvili. It really seemed as though O'Malley could not even find his range against Merab. Something that Merab does so well is he has great bounce to his style, right? He's constantly moving. He's a very unpredictable fighter that makes it very hard to read him. You know what was really weird, though? Merab was talking shit with Tim Welch as this fight started, and Herb Dean had to call a damn timeout because Merab was yelling at Tim Welch. I thought that was actually hilarious. Looking at this fight, though, Merab's game just looked unreal. I'll be honest, it looked unreal. The dude's gas tank doesn't stop. He landed punches against O'Malley, too, and it's like, not like Merab looked outmatched in the striking. I mean, yeah, O'Malley was a little bit cleaner, but mostly Merab was pressing him backwards, but not panic shooting takedowns, sitting in the striking with O'Malley, making O'Malley miss. And Merab was able to get the fight to the ground, work some nice control time, work some nice ground and pound, put O'Malley in that front headlock. He gave him a few kisses to the back at some point. That was weird as shit. O'Malley shot for an armbar, but put his damn hands in the gloves. That was a dirty tactic that O'Malley tried. But, dude, he was just completely outmatched. Merab is literally the machine. The dude's gas tank is insane. The pressure is off the chain. But the striking is actually not bad. In his rhythm, the way he's bouncing and constantly moving, it makes for a very hard target to hit. And Sean O'Malley had no success finding clean shots. Now, granted, yeah, he landed a few punches throughout the fight, but most of his success, his biggest moments were in the 5th round. He hit Merab with a couple of teep kicks to the body that seemed to hurt Merab pretty bad in that 5th and final round, maybe a couple straights by O'Malley, but still Merab finishes landing the takedown and ended up on top in the fight. It was the Merab showcase. It was the Merab showcase, man, and we knew it from the first round. O'Malley was down in the first round, getting controlled a bit and ground and pounded. And it's just persistent. I mean, he had, what was it, was it round 4 and 5? No, I think it was a decent round 3 he had. And then he was just getting takedown left and right by Dvalishvili, and a decent round 5. I personally only scored round 5 for Sean O'Malley. I know that 2 of the judges actually had it 48-47, but I thought Merab had won 4 out of 5 rounds. I thought he was clearly up. There was going to be no argument. Yes, O'Malley finished the fight strong, but he didn't finish the fight strong enough where we're like, yo, let's book that rematch. He nearly had Merab out of there. Not for me. Not for me. I'm going to take a sip real quick. Not for me. I didn't feel that way at all. Sean O'Malley, his timing looked off. This is not me making excuses. And it's not because he didn't show up prepared for the fight. His timing looked off because Merab is just simply one of the hardest guys to time in the freaking UFC. Merab is a special fighter, and I think I've always known he was good, but I did not recognize how good he was until the fight against O'Malley. I'm like, oh, shit. Merab can strike, too. Merab's hard to hit. Merab can take you down and beat you up. He's not just going to lay and pray. It was a dominant win with Merab fighting an intelligent game plan, 1,000% intelligent game plan, well-timed takedowns, decent moments in the striking, great control. It was the Merab Dvalishvili showcase fight, and I was very happy for him, but I was also very sad for me because I was backing O'Malley heavy. I thought Sugar Show really was going to find that kill shot, especially with the distance striking advantage, the length that he has. I thought O'Malley would be on point, and I really thought the punch was going to come to him, and I thought he would find that Merab chin and lay him out. Absolutely not. Shout out Merab Dvalishvili for more than proving me wrong. Holy hell. I would hustling O'Malley crazy. After the fight, Merab was like talking about how he's a humble guy. I'm just a regular guy. A regular guy. I don't know. That's the worst Merab accent ever. I've done better ones, but I don't know. It's 4:30 in the morning, man. A regular guy. I'm humble. I'm humble. Worst Merab impression yet from me? Probably. But you know what? On the press conference reaction, I was on point. I got to practice it. Listen. He didn't want to talk about Umar Nurmagomedov after. He's not ducking Umar. Get it? Don't get it twisted. He just don't want to give Umar the shine because the Nurmagomedov name just always forces itself into the fucking conversation. Can we let Merab have his damn moment? So I'm with Merab and shutting that shit down. Yes, Merab will fight Umar Nurmagomedov. Yes, he will do it. And that is going to be the next fight. And that is actually a really intriguing matchup because Merab is taking on somebody that can strike and grapple well, stop takedowns extremely well. That's going to be so interesting. I think Umar Nurmagomedov is a really hard stylistic matchup for Merab Dvalishvili. But count me in as a fan that's interested in seeing it. For Sean O'Malley, I don't know. I actually have a crazy idea for Sean O'Malley. I almost want to do a separate video for it. But I'm not a stingy bastard. I'll tell you guys. What if Sean O'Malley takes 6 months off, puts on some muscle, and moves up to 145? Is that a horrible idea? Is he going to get smoked? Maybe. Maybe. She's so fucking skinny, man. Sean O'Malley's got no muscle on him. And I think that's why Merab could completely body him in the grappling. Would he maybe be better at 145? But shit, then I imagine, Diego Lopes, Sean O'Malley. Diego Lopes will beat his ass. So I don't know about O'Malley going up to 45. I guess I kind of like the idea for myself. Maybe he takes on like the loser of Topuria versus Holloway in a mega fight. But I wouldn't anticipate that to be the reality. I just don't think it's a horrible idea for Sean O'Malley maybe to consider if he's looking for a big change because he looked weak as hell on the ground. Now, there's also the obvious fight. Like, I already see it. We all know what it is. Do I really need to say it? Corey Sandhagen, Sean O'Malley. Let's just finally book the clash of elite-level strikers, and let's see whose striking style is superior. But I'll tell you, don't be surprised when Corey Sandhagen is trying to wrestle with him after this fight here. Big win for Merab. Respect to O'Malley, trying to fight till the very end, trying to land, but he was just outworked and outmatched in the grappling and honestly out-timed on the feet. He was hit by some good shots by Merab, and he met his maker. He met his match. He met that dog that doesn't stop fucking fighting, man. The dog that keeps barking, bro. What is it? The lockjaw. Barking. He keeps barking. Merab look good. He's a humble guy. He's a normal guy. I'm a normal guy. He's a normal guy. Merab's good shit. Respect to him winning, but damn, I wish the Sugar Show would have continued because now the super fight is dead with Topuria or Holloway. You know, the Nurmagomedov fight for the O'Malley chance to, do better than to do better than Conor did by taking out Nurmagomedov. That's done for. But that's how the fight game goes. We'll see how he bounces back. Right now, it's Merab's time, and respect to the new champion. That was Noche UFC, UFC 306. I was disappointed by my predictions. I won't lie to you. I was pretty pissed, but we'll go through them. W with Raul Rosas over Aoriqileng. W with Joshua Van over Edgar Cháirez. L with Jauregui over Souza. L with Torres over Bahamondes. L with Aldana and Dumont. W with Rodríguez over Osbourne. W with Ribovics over Zellhuber. W with Diego Lopes over Ortega. L with Grasso, and then L with O'Malley, who for some delusional reason, I decided, fuck it, we're locking it. Yeah, damn, I feel like an idiot after the fact. But that's how the game goes. That's how it goes sometimes. Hey, the over hit in this fight, which was a confident pick. Obviously, confident call. Rosas for the W. Perfect pick. Confident call. Diego Lopes for the W. Favorite underdog of the week. Esteban Ribovics with the W. So there were positives that came out of it. It's just really frustrating for me that Sean O'Malley sold heavy. But if you play the 3 overs, over 1.5 in the Lopes, Ronaldo Rodríguez, and the over 2.5 in the Dumont fight, you definitely hit on that parlay. So maybe you played some over-under thunder. You just threw it down in the overs. And new champ, Merab takes it home, takes out my boy Sean O'Malley in dominant fashion. And that is how UFC 306 went. I want to talk a little bit about what I thought of Noche UFC. Thought about doing this at the beginning, but I figured I'll save it to the end. I'll just timestamp it. So, the Sphere was dope. It was super cool for the main card to have these badass backgrounds during the fight. And I can imagine being there was like a once-in-a-lifetime experience because you really feel like you're somewhere in Mexico during these fights. And it feels like you're outside with the fact that the Sphere like still has a screen at the top, to the back, and to the side. So it was incredibly cool. And I do think the UFC will return to the Sphere. I don't know if we can make it maybe a semi-annual thing, maybe every 2 years, because I know they put a lot of money into it, but I would like to see them return to the Sphere and do something similar again. The movies were kind of cool. They more just like set up the background for the fights. It wasn't overly theatrical, which was something I was worried about. It actually was like the perfect amount of theatrics and entertainment. They probably could have pushed it a little farther with making the walkouts a little crazier, but I know Dana White is pretty stubborn on not kind of falling into the cringe category of having like the rappers walking out with the fighters boxing style. But I don't know. Maybe it could have been cool to make it for Noche UFC. You could get like live music as a walkout. I think it could have kind of been fun, but not really necessary. It's just something that came to my mind after the fact. I was like, yeah, they could have done that. But I liked Noche UFC. I thought the Sphere card was really cool. I hope this isn't the last time they do it. I like the badass backgrounds. It added a cool flair. And if I'm in Vegas and there's another Sphere card going down, once I pass 100,000 subscribers, I will go to the next Sphere card because I think it would be like a worthwhile experience to witness that in person. Like we watched it on TV and it was really cool. But I think being there would feel like, you know, a once in a lifetime type of experience. Real quick, actually, what was the fight of the night? Did they announce it? Did Dana announce it yet? Because Tapology don't got it. I mean, probably Ribovics, Zellhuber fight of the night. I think that makes a lot of sense. They might even give Ronaldo Rodríguez some extra bonus money. And then Diego Lopes Ortega some extra bonus money. Shit, probably Ketlen Souza getting a little something. Bahamondes. How many finishes were on the card? Damn, there was a lot of decisions. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 decisions. Only 2 finishes. For a card that had majority decisions, though, they were still badass fights. I actually really enjoyed this card. I didn't love the main or co-main event, especially because O'Malley was getting bodied, but I didn't think that either one of them were great fights, but like Lopes and Ortega was badass. Ribovics and Zellhuber was once of a freaking lifetime, once of a kind. Same with Rodríguez and Osbourne. Even Aldana Dumont was good. There were some really dope fights on this card. I got to say, for a card that was very decision heavy, I was still extremely entertained. And personally, I thought it was still a really good night. So Noche UFC, aka UFC 306 in the books. That is it for me. It's almost 5 in the morning. I need to upload this video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Smash the like button on your way out. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Turn the post notifications on. Don't miss a video. I have all content coming during the off week. Don't worry. I'm not stopping. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you all on the next one. Good night. Peace out.